Hey, how you all going? It's Jai, that Aussie metal guy here with crank.com and with that metal station. And today I'm getting to have a chat with Peter Hraur from 1000 Bone Cylinder Explosion, whose debut album Bind came out 1st of October. It's a great listen. It's got elements of thrash, black metal, a little bit of everything. And I really like the way you've just kind of attacked this album, man. Thanks for taking some time to have a chat with me.
Yeah, no problem, man.
First off, dude, I want to dive before I dive into this album, man. I want to dive into a little bit of your musical journey. How did you first pick up guitar? It was obviously guitar you started with first, was it?
No, actually, I'm a piano player first.
Ah, awesome! I love that.
Yeah. Started piano when I was 6 years old, and then I guess at some point I just thought guitar was more fun. Did the guitar thing, and then I started, learning the rest of the instruments gradually. I play bass on the record too, but Greg is the drummer on this record. Maybe at some point I'll play some drums at some point too. I can't play that fast. That's where we're at now. Yeah, I think I started guitar like seventh grade over here. Is like what is that, 14ish? That
Yep.
age. And I'm almost 30 now, so it's been like 16 years over here.
Was there a musical act that inspired you to pick up the guitar, or was it just something you wanted to move on to from piano? It was like guitars a little bit.
I mean, my dad was a big classic rock fan, so it was probably a lot of the old classic rock stuff. I'm a Aussie. I was a big Aussie fan, so Randy Rhoads was a big influence. And then I had a hair metal phase, I think, in high school, so I liked Rat a lot. Was it Warren DeMartini? Is that his name? I liked him a lot. Big Journey fan. I don't care how that doesn't sound like it fits at all with what I did with Bind at all with 1000 Bones Cylinder Explosion. But I love, was it Neil Schoen, however you say his last name. Into the melodic stuff, into the shreddy stuff. Eventually got into power metal, and then my other band, Lore, is a power metal folk metal band. That was my first, I guess, big dive into the metal scene, as it were. And then from there, I got deeper and deeper into it. Now I'm doing weird nonsense with this project.
Yeah, well, tell us a little bit about your other band there, because
Lore. Okay, so yeah, Lore. We're like a power metal, folk metal, progressive metal mishmash of things.
yep.
Um, Started that band with the singer Tyler. I think in our, was it junior or senior year of high school, and from there it was the whole idea is we were just like, oh, we want to make like epic sounding music. So there wasn't an actual genre in mind, but we were grabbing from bands like Blind Guardian, Camelot, familiar with them, and Fintroll. Those were all like all those realms. We were like, oh, this is what we like. We like the fun folky stuff. We like the overly dramatic theatrical stuff from the power metal stuff. And yeah, and that's how Lore started, and then that's kind of how I got into the metal scene in the area as a whole from there. And then started a bunch of other bands. I'm in another black metal project called Bodis. Um, and then I'm also in another band called Top Hats and Effigies, which is kind of like this weird circus metal thing. But, we don't have any albums out, but we're working on it.
Yeah, cool. Does it help having these different musical projects, these different vehicles to create with as well? Like to go from that
Yeah.
Blackened?
So, a joke that we have kind of amongst ourselves, like we have, I guess you could say we have like this kind of small musical collective of like, I don't know, like 10 musicians. Um, I think a joke on our Facebook page, Lore's Facebook page, was like one of our hobbies is starting new bands or new projects. And we have like, between the 10 of us, we have a lot. There's a lot of bands that we're all collectively in. And I actually do think it helps. I think for one reason, it helps you practice. You get to play a whole lot of different stuff, but it also helps you from getting burnt out in any particular genre. Like, power metal. I mean, I love the genre, but as we all know, it can kind of get a little monotonous.
Yeah,
As with anything. So, like, it helps to flip between that and, maybe do some black metal, maybe do some doomier stuff, another project, or, the stupid, silly circus clown music that we also love doing. So,
yeah. Well, even metalheads like us, like you can't just listen to one genre all the bloody time. I love power metal. I like the way it makes me feel, but I couldn't listen to power metal all the bloody time. And then you jump over to some black metal or some doom metal. It's kind of when I hear people that go, "Oh, I only listen to like two or three or a handful of bands," I kind of like go, wow, you're missing out on so much great music out there. I could myself, I couldn't just listen to one genre and a handful of bands, and that's it. That would seem kind of really boring and bland to me as well.
It's tough. I mean, like maybe that. I mean, there's an argument that's why like there's so many subgenres, right?
Yeah,
Keep dividing it until we like have a little bit a mood for a type of music for every mood, you know. I feel like pillaging today. I guess it's Viking metal day. I don't know. It is. We're also like weirdly into ska and stuff like that. I mean, it shows
yeah,
up on the record as you know, like
yeah,
again, like the Lore band, Lore people, I should say. Tyler was a huge ska nerd back in high school. In fact, it was the only thing he listened to until we started our power metal project. So I don't know. We like everything, and that's a good thing. I mean, again, for the burnout and everything, it just gets boring if you stick with one thing for too long.
yeah, exactly. And ska's cool as fuck. I remember back in high school listening to some cool ska punk bands that had some fucking great like ska influences in it as well, and it was just bloody cool as hell.
Yeah,
Can't go wrong.
there's a weird overlap here, at least with like the metal and ska community. There's a lot of the same people I've noticed.
Yeah, because you're over in Pennsylvania there. What's the music community like over there? It sounds pretty good. I've interviewed a couple of bands from there, and the scene seems pretty tight and strong.
It is awesome. I mean, COVID has made it kind of weird. I actually
Yeah.
don't know too much what's going on right now, but the music scene in general, before the end of the world, was pretty good.
Yeah.
We had. I don't know if you're familiar with Illustrium, but they're a local band that we're buddies with, and they just released an amazing album. There's another band in the area called The Presence of Wolves. I'm super into like a progressive rock band. There's tons of stuff in there. A Parias, if you're familiar with them. I wish I was wearing another shirt. Any of these guys' shirts. I didn't think about it today. Instead of it's a Magic the Gathering shirt. The scene is really good. There's a lot of really tight, awesome bands creating awesome stuff. But yeah, right now I don't know what the deal is with the actual like live scene.
Live scene.
I'm going to a show at the end of the month um, with Cleric and my buddy's my buddy's new band, which I forget the name of right now. That should be cool. If you're familiar with Cleric too, they're another local band. They play with like John Zorn and stuff. Crazy connections with awesome musicians. Yeah, the scene's really awesome, and it's pretty diverse. Especially like when I was coming out in the scene with Lore. We were like the only power metal band or anything relatively close to that in the entire scene. But that wasn't weird at all. So
No.
everyone was pretty accepting. And, we'd fit on bands with like, or fit on bills with like death metal bands, black metal bands, occasionally just, normal rock bands. And we kind of worked on that too, because we don't have a ton of harsh vocals, but it was, they're in there. But, we can fit in with most things, and it kind of works. It's a pretty eclectic scene here, I think, which makes it interesting.
Well, that makes it fun for me going to metal shows that are like that. Like you said, when you were like the only power metal on the bill and you had some death metal and you had a bit of rock stuff. And that's a great show to go to. You don't want to just go see five bands playing the same kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's always a lot
Yeah.
more fun when you're seeing five bands that are playing something different each time. And you can walk away going, wow, that was, individual. Or sometimes it gets lost in the wash when you're going five death metal bands in a row, you know what I mean? Whereas if you're going with
Yeah.
that power metal in the mix, it fits really well.
Yeah, it just keeps everything fresh and interesting. And the bands, I think, also like, especially like when you start talking to them, becoming friends with them, we start kind of influencing each other a little bit. So the scene itself kind of homogenizes in a weird way, and you start getting these kind of weird crossover genres and stuff. Everyone has like a slight progressive tinge on it now, maybe a little bit in the scene. Again, I've been like 3 years. It feels like 3 years. Kind of been 3 years, right? When was the last time I played a show? 2019, early 2019.
Wow.
It's been a while.
Been a while. Yeah, suppose you want it's hard booking shows because I see shows getting booked over there and then bands drop out and then they have to cancel shows. And that's also a concerning thing as well because you want to be kind of sure of where you're going. Did this project kind of come out of that environment that you were like, okay, and I'm at home, I want to work, and probably now's the best time for me to create this album, this solo-ish album?
This project's pretty weird, actually, the way it came about. I think I actually started the idea in. I think if I looked back at my hard drive, I could find the actual date. But it was like around 2014.
Oh, wow.
So when I was talking about the burnout thing, it was actually just a thing that I started doing just to like do something else.
Yep.
I was like pretty burnt out with lore and whatever else I was doing at the time. It was, and I think what the idea was, I remember the initial idea. It was, I'm gonna write an entire album in a day, and then and I failed, obviously, spectacularly. 7 years later.
A day, 7 years. What?
Well, no, I mean, it's funny though because I actually got pretty far. Like in 4 hours, I think I had maybe like 9. You know, like I use Logic as my digital audio workstation. I think I had like 9 separate demo files for things in 4 hours. Well, I actually did like there was a few almost full skeletons of songs. I didn't use all 9. I think I only used like 6 at the end, but like 6 of those original ideas in that first 4 hours back 7 years ago are on the record now, which is pretty cool. And then, you know, I forgot about it for like 3 or 4 years entirely, which is why it's so long. And then like one day I was just looking through my hard drives to see what was in there so I could clean up some stuff. And then I found it. I'm like, oh yeah, this. I guess I'll finish this. And then I decided to finish it. And that's that. And, you know, another 3 years in, I finished writing it and then started recording it with Greg. And finally, so it's been forever.
It's been forever. So what was it like? Where did you record? Did you record at home? Who'd you record with? Where'd you go? Yep.
Yeah, in my basement. And I also have like a soundproof shed that I use to do like to do vocals and small things. But yeah, mostly just in my basement with just our microphone collection that I have in the band within all of our bands. We share all of our stuff and the like, and it's just been that home recording.
That would have been fun, help pass the time as well, because no doubt you were in lockdown like some of the world when you were doing this, were you? Or it was semi-lockdown?
Yeah, no, I think all the recordings were finished. All the instrumental recordings were actually finished before lockdown.
Yep.
I think lockdown, I just did all the vocals. That was the only thing I ended up doing, and then mixing, and then trying to figure out, releasing it, getting the art together. I know the art's a little weird, but
Yeah.
it actually took a while.
It would have definitely been a lot of fun creating this album, not getting yourself locked into any genre. Because I put it on and I'm like, wow, I can pick that black metal because I've been hammering a lot of black metal as I've gotten older. And then the thrash metal elements, it would have been like a heck of a lot of fun just to go, look, I'm just going to make this vehicle, this project where purely I can do what the hell I want to do. I can make an album that is just my creative vehicle to express myself with.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I just wanted to do it's forever whatever I want to do. And I know that Bind specifically is like on the faster, blackened, thrashy side of things, but just so everyone knows, that might not be a consistent thing. It could be whatever. The next album could be a doom thing for whatever I know. I haven't totally decided yet, but it will be. It's gonna be weird. That's the only thing I know that's going to stay true for everything.
That's cool. I look forward to it. So, are you going to any plans to kind of get this and play a little bit of some local live shows at all there around your area, or what's your plan with this project? Is it just going to be a strictly studio project, or what's your deal with it going forward?
Right now, it's probably just a studio thing, unless
Yep.
there's like a serious interest to do shows. But I mean, there's a few obstacles. First being,
Yeah, of course.
no, I don't have band members.
Yeah.
Second being, there's still like, right now especially, like I'm seeing like tours and shows getting canceled left and right still. So probably not a good idea to start putting that together now, or maybe it is a good idea to start putting it together now to plan for after. I don't know. But I don't even know how I'd want to approach it yet.
Yeah.
Because I did guitars, bass, and vocals for the record, among random other things. But there's some keyboards on it, but I don't necessarily know if I want to do both.
Yeah.
It's an exhausting thing.
Yeah.
Vocals and guitar. So I might even, if I do end up doing it live, I might actually just pick one or the other, and then get someone else to do it. But I haven't totally decided it, and no rush yet. I'm not even sure if it's gonna.
No, that's it. Like I can't see shows being stable till at least 2022. It's like I want shows here. I'm missing the hell out of shows. I was just I was saying last night, like I'm really, really missing shows, but we kind of want this to go forward at a pace where we can set these shows and be comfortable that these bands are going to be able to play, because the stop start, as I was just saying before, is just really hard on the music industry, and it makes it more important for people to get along and buy albums and support the scene. And one thing that I've been really, really encouraged by is that I'm hearing this a lot, that metalheads are getting behind bands and albums, not just in the big bands, but also on the underground scene as well, buying records, buying merch, and really trying to support the scene, because we actually get it. I was a little worried when this all started, but from all the interviews and the people I've spoken to, it's been really, really great to see how the community has got behind each other in the bands.
No, I agree. I mean, like, actually, the metal community is a little unique like that, where even before COVID, they were buying, physical records and merch, and like that was one thing I actually never really had a concern about.
Yeah.
Like being in the metal community, is that it like versus other genres, like the metal community seems to be way more supportive of underground things than maybe a few other more popular types of genres, or just like even just rock in general, where it's more widely consumed. Like you don't see people just going out and supporting their local hard rock band and buying like the actual records and stuff. Like a lot of artists just go full digital now, right?
Yeah.
There is like there's still like demand for people to print actual CDs and I don't know, cassettes even, right? The
Yeah.
Well,
Cassettes have come back, dude. Cassettes, man. I got cassettes all over, dude.
Doing that, but maybe it seems
Yeah.
cool.
Cassettes, man. Yeah.
Sick.
I don't even play them. I just get them now and collect them.
It's just like you just collect them.
We're weird like that, aren't we, metalheads? We've just got to have things and stuff. I bought a heap of records, and I hardly ever rip my records out, but I bought them because
nerds. At the end of the day, I think we're just giant nerds, and we need to have all the things, and we need to put them on the wall to show everybody how many things we have.
yeah. And I think a lot of us were missing that ability when you go to shows. You know what? We buy merch. We go and see a band. Like I've gone to shows where I probably know one or two bands on the bill, and I've seen a new one. And I walked away up to the merch stand, chatted to the band, and bought myself a shitload of merch from all the bands playing. We all kind of miss that at the moment. So it is really good and really encouraging to see how the community's got behind it. Best place to go buy some music from you, man. Give us your pluggables.
Bandcamp. What is it? 1000bonecylinderexplosion.bandcamp.com. And then I have a Facebook under the same name, and I have an Instagram, but I don't really man it. But it's at 1kbcx. I'll probably use it more in the future, but right now I'm pretty bad with it.
Yeah, that's what I like Bandcamp too, because I buy a lot of music through there as well. And you mentioned the platform. Like I like to buy, if I can't buy the album, I buy the digital album, and it works really well for me with radio as too. So if I'm not getting sent the promo, I'm able to go buy the album. Even half the time when I'm sent a promo, I'll go over and buy some merch off the band as well and buy the album, because the ability to just always stream it on your phone with your Bandcamp account is a bonus, and you do it safe in the fact that you've spent the money. Like it's $7 for the album for the 1000 Bone Cylinder Explosion. It's an absolute ripper of an album. That last one I think goes for like 10 minutes, the last track on that.
Yeah. That's normal for Lör, but that was definitely the longest one on this one.
Yeah. Well, tell us about that track there, the long one, the epic one on there. I love an epic.
Oh yeah, that was in a way that was the reason that album was the album works to me, at least.
Yep.
There's a bunch of like musical themes that kind of come together in that last track that were initially presented in earlier songs on the record, and that's why I think that song's pretty cool. It's got a bunch of thematic stuff. I mean, for me, that's my favorite, but I've had, buddies tell me that they've had other favorites, which I'm happy about too. It's good to have people like multiple things about the record. So that one's a crazy song. That was like, I know that in that song specifically too, I was like, I want to have like a kind of a doom stoner moment. And that was like the whole reason I had that crazy slow down bit at the end with all the fuzz and all that. So really, I like that one a lot too.
Yeah, it's a killer track. Pick another two tracks for us, Peter. I'm going to play that last one on the radio and pick another two tracks for us, man, to go with this and why. Yeah.
I would pick the ones that would pair with it. So Start would be a good one to
Yep.
put with that. And either Dream of Floating or A Table in the Middle of the Room would be my other two that I'd play with that.
Awesome. Guys, everyone head over, grab the album Bind from Thousand Bone Cylinder Explosion, grab it on Bandcamp. He's got Facebook there. He plugged his other bands. Get along, support the scene, support Thousand Bone Cylinder Explosion. Peter, thank you very much for joining me, mate. I really do appreciate it. Do you have any last words, shout outs, or thank yous you'd like to add in, my friend?
No, then again, thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
No, man, this was really cool talking music with you, man. You have a great night.
Awesome. You too. Thank you.
Cheers, mate.